What's up, everybody? I'm back. I got a story video today, and this is one that I probably had an idea to do for a while, but I forgot about until now. This is the time I worked at a zoo. I wouldn't call it work. I mean, it was work. More of a volunteer program, though. It's like a teen zookeeper program at a local zoo, if you know what it is. I vlogged there. It's one of my first ever vlogs that I did. So you can go and check out that vlog to get a little bit of context for what I had to do. But I thought today I would talk about some cool experiences that I had there. Experiences, I wouldn't call them cool. But I thought it'd be cool to recall my time. I know Jeff the Mellows, he did it too. He actually would continue on past the level that I did and would do it a little bit more. Work with some other animals and stuff like that you can't work at the base level. I only did the base level. I didn't really have a lot of interest in continuing it after that. So yeah, let's start. So as a teen zookeeper, the first level, you basically would just, it was like kind of working like a regular shift. You had to have the proper dressing and stuff like that. We remember we'd sign in on this book, and you could see other people that were working there at the time as well, and you get to be able to read their things and whatever. And that was pretty cool. But there was only 3 areas in the zoo that we could work in. We had that we possibly could be assigned to, and the first was the bird, the bird area. It was called Wings Down Under, and it was just a little greenhouse building with plants in it and birds in it, different kinds of birds, and you could walk through and feed the birds on a stick if you wanted to, and walk through the area, and there's all the birds just standing around. You get to look at them, you can put them on your finger or whatever, and it was really, really cool. So that was the first area I could have worked in, and that one was actually the easiest out of them because it was the only one that I didn't have to wear muck boots for. So I could wear regular tennis shoes, a lot more comfortable and a lot cooler as well since we were indoors. And we had a fan going to help circulate air because obviously it was indoors. And so that was pretty cool. But it was probably the most boring out of the 3, mainly because we would just sit there forever with nothing to do. And we literally just sit there. I really wouldn't even look at my phone because I didn't want to get in trouble. I wouldn't do that for any of the 3, especially this one. I wouldn't, but this one too. I wouldn't look at my phone because I wouldn't do anything. So it would just be really awkward because we'd just be sitting there. And if sometimes there were 2 other zookeepers that would work with me there on time, and so then they would be talking because they knew each other and everybody's this tight bond, and I was kind of just thrown into the mix. It's a little awkward, but when I did have stuff to do, I'd go around and maybe sweep up the floor a little bit, or I'd make sure that there weren't birds that were just burrowing on the floor or whatever, making nests or anything like that. Because they weren't really supposed to be on the floor, because it was a big hazard. You could easily crush one of the birds. Never had that happen. That would have been scary yet exciting. But never had that happen, so I can't really attest to what it would have been like. But it's what I heard. Could happen. Never happened, but... And then we'd have to go maybe do some other stuff to take care of or whatever. And it'd be just so boring because you would just sit there for hours just doing nothing, burning up. Oh, it was so annoying. They would try to make small talk with me, and they do okay. They were nice people. I'm not saying any of these people were bad. They were all really nice people. They tried their best, but they were a little socially awkward, and you kind of get that when you're working at a zoo. These people are all probably destined to be interested in animals and like that kind of stuff. And I love animals as that much as the next guy, but these people didn't always have the same interests as me. They were older than me, so it was a little hard to get to know them and socialize with them. But, that's what you kind of get when you're a little socially awkward, a little bit shyer of a person. You can get that in all kinds of situations. So it's not any their fault or anything like that. That was the first place. Second place was the goat petting area. Yes. I had goats in it, obviously. You can get to pet goats. There's also chickens in there. Because of the avian flu, bird flu, they're no longer in there. They haven't really been in there for a while. But they were in there. There used to be rabbits as well. that would be not in there, but like a separate pen that was attached to it. You get to be in there, but we didn't have to deal with the rabbits. We only had to deal with the goats, really. And I had to wear my muck boots, obviously, and we would go, and I would have to sweep up. I would go and I have to sweep up poop. Obviously, that was the main thing I had to do. Sometimes I had to change the water or the food, but usually some people who are a little bit more experienced would do that kind of thing. I only ever did the goats twice. The first time was one of the first times I ever did the program, and it was I had the closing shift, so I had to close after the zoo was closed, close all the stuff down, and actually take care of some stuff. And I worked a little bit overtime, so that was something new. But hey, whatever. I can. It wasn't that big of a deal. It was a little nerve-wracking, like you knew you were going to be late, and that's the kind of thing I kind of have. I get a little bit nervous when I know like I'm running behind schedule and what I'm nothing I can do about it, that kind of thing. But you know what? I was all right. There was a guy, the second time I did it, I worked with another teen zookeeper along with somebody else who was a little bit higher up and more experienced and stuff like that. This guy I remember mainly because he was, one, the only other person my age that I ever really worked with. Two, he loved to talk. Oh my God, this guy would go on about random nonsense for the entire duration. And sure, I liked the company and stuff like that, but I don't know the guy. He was homeschooled, he really liked animals, and he really liked the program. You know what? I engaged in conversation with him. Don't remember much really what we talked about. I think we talked about video games a little bit. But he mainly talked about his love for animals and homeschooling and stuff like that, which is, again, homeschooling is something I can't relate to, so it was a little hard to really chime in with conversation topic. But hey, what are you gonna do? So that was a little. He's the only guy I really remember that much. I remember a couple of the other higher up people who would try and make small talk with me and stuff like that. They were all really nice, so that was pretty good. But other than, for the goats at least, they were no real experiences that were major happen other than, of course, cleaning up poop. And we had to go. I could see the back area of the zoo, the barn where all the goats go in at night, and all stuff like that. It was cool to get a little bit of behind the scenes action. It smelled really weird, as it should, being a barn in a zoo. But it was still pretty nice. And the third area was the ponies, the pony rides. We have a little thing. The zoo has a little thing where you can ride for a little bit of an extra price. You can ride ponies around a circle. Kids can do that and stuff like that. So my job was obviously I didn't have to take the ponies around. I wasn't allowed to do that. But I would help by brushing the ponies, giving them water, making sure they were all comfortable and stuff like that. Maybe cleaning the seats every time if I needed to. And then I'd also have to take care of the shit. Yeah, that was probably the worst experience out of the whole thing, was having to go into the back, and I'm walking literally through mud and shit, and it was just recently rained. It was smoking hot. Holy crap, was it hot. And maybe it wouldn't make any better because we were in this back area where there was no wind or anything like that, and I had to make sure the ponies were all set and take care of a few other things like that. And walking, I had muck boots on, but I was still walking through like ankle deep mud and shit, just mixed together, slipping and sliding around. I remember almost falling at one point. I don't think I actually did, but I had to catch myself. Yeah, that was not fun. But you know what? A job has to be done. A job always has to be done. But the most memorable thing was not that. It was the other time, still in this one, where I watched a pony get a boner. Yeah, it was an older pony, and I just remember nobody paid attention to it. I didn't say anything about it. It was natural, and but that was just an awkward experience to be a part of. But those workers were really nice too. It was also really boring because barely anybody went there. So you just sit there, right? And you couldn't even most of the time sit. You had to stand the entire time. And looking back on it now with the job that I currently have, it's not, or soon will not have, but currently have at the time making this video, it's not probably anything that I'd find very, very hard to this day, other than walking through the mud and the shit. But back then when I didn't have a job and wasn't even getting paid for this, it was a good starting experience, I guess. And it also proved to me that I don't have what it takes to work at a zoo. Nope, not for me. At least not doing what I was doing there. But if you did that, you could complete that and move up to the second level, and you could work with like the tigers and stuff like that. And when I started the program, that seemed very intriguing. But after doing what I did, it just didn't interest me anymore, and I wanted to move on to other things. But however, it was a good experience for what I had, and it made a good video, made a good story video out of it. Maybe Jeff and Mel's and I will talk about our experiences again on a podcast some point on the Strollin' Trollin' podcast. Go watch that. And maybe we'll get some other cool experiences from Noah's perspective, some of the other higher up stuff that he got to do. But if you ever did a program like this, a volunteer zoo program, or even a paid, worked at a zoo, did stuff like this, or higher up, or other kind of stuff, I'd like to hear your experiences in the comment section down below. And that's going to do it for this story video, guys. So stay tuned for much more amazing content. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.